All right, a very good morning, everybody, from the Twitch sphere. Welcome to another flight with Captain Nabs here, live on Twitch, and we are still carrying on with our pilot's life career. So, a very good morning, everybody. Happy to see a couple of you guys here already. It looks like I have a couple of fellow flights lined up there in the background, ready to go as well. I imagine that's you, Squibbly, there in the Delta, and Nuclear Jet in behind in the American colors, same as last time, I believe. I'm assuming, or maybe it's just a coincidence. But here we are at JFK, and here we are, my friends, ready for another day of flying. And here I am. Good morning, everybody, and as I said, welcome to the stream. Glad I got things working a little faster than last week. Last week it did not go so well for the startup, and the sound issues left me a little bit behind the 8 ball, but today we're a little bit more on time. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I did have to restart the sim. There was one setting I realized that was not correct, unfortunately, and it was probably going to make our lives very uncomfortable. So, fixed that, restarted the sim. Sorry it took a couple of extra minutes.
Wings are coming on.
And this guy's listened to me already.
APU.
No. Stop. Oh my god. And, oh, you know what? That's the other setting that's probably missing here. Stand by one moment. If I can just, where is it? Nope, not that one. That one. And that should work better now. Haha, much better. All right. Yeah, so we're in the trusty CRJ again today. My FO was listening to every thing I was saying, and he assumed I was always talking to him, so he was trying to start up the airplane, even though we are not ready for it whatsoever. But we will start getting some stuff going here in the name of our flights today. Let me just put the bridge on here. In order to do that, let's open that door. And then we can command the bridge to go on. So I can use my trusty GSX. Should work. And I guess I just need to Delta Airlines. Give it a second. Everything populates, and it should start driving over any second now. Any second now. Any second now. Oh, for crying out loud. Or not. You know, whatever. Go back to my other trusty backup, which is to use Pushback Express to control my ground services sometimes. Because I'm not sure why that bridge is not coming over. It should move. Give it a second here. And let's see if we can't get Pushback Express to move it. Nope, apparently it's not going to move today. Really? Lord. Fine. Whatever. We'll just walk him across the ramp. Walk him across the ramp then. I don't care. It's not no skin off my back. I don't know why it's not. There it goes. Now it's moving. Oh, Flight Sim, you are simultaneously a source of so much joy and frustration in my life. Alright. So we do have a bridge coming up, which is good. We'll be able to start doing some stuff here. Today's flight. I normally try to get to this quicker, but today's flight, for anybody who does not know, we are going today from New York's Kennedy Airport, John F. Kennedy, to Buffalo, New York. So this is, again, a pretty short flight, a little longer than the Rochester flight, about, I think it's about 75 miles longer than the Syracuse flight, but it's not a long flight by any means, which is why we're going to try and do this. This is why there's a question mark in the title. My goal is to get from New York to Buffalo and back in one day. Again, regional pilot flying, this is what you do. You do a lot of out and back short turns a lot of the time. Short turns at the outstations, short turns at home base oftentimes too, to go back out again somewhere else. We're not going to do that, but we are going to get out of here, go to Buffalo, and as time permits, we're going to come back. Have to just see how time is doing, personal life schedule and whatever. If I don't feel like we have enough time to get the return leg done, I may pull the plug in Buffalo. But my goal is to try and get there and back. So we're going to try not to dilly-dally too much here as we do this flight here. Not too much is happening in my pilot's life career. I do keep getting paid, so I'm slowly getting richer again. Looks like I've gotten a few $100. I've gotten a couple of salary income credits here that I haven't even checked upon. $27.43. $26.12. Woo! Wow. I am getting paid the big money here. I guess this is what happens when you make $16.33 an hour as an FO. You get $26 a week when you fly 2 hours a week. So, yeah, making the big money now. the important thing is we're trying to build up our experience points, because the next job, hopefully we apply for, will get a much higher salary if we have more experience points and we work for a better airline. So I can always look at the job market at any time and see what's out there. It takes a couple seconds for it to load because it's actually connecting to the server, because it does keep track of who's working for what airlines, how many jobs are available at various airlines. But here's what I'm being offered now. Already the offers are much better than what I'm making right now. ATA Airlines, Avilo, Colorful, Gizu Airlines, LATAM Express, and Nauru Airlines, and all of them are offering me well north of $22 an hour anyway, so like a good 50% pay bump over what I'm making right now. None of these airlines particularly appeal to me, and I like the schedule I've got, so I'm going to finish this off. Really, money isn't everything, and that's one thing you learn as a pilot. Money is definitely not everything. But this is what we're doing anyways, and we can talk more about that later. Let's get this show underway. I'd like to be airborne within the next 30 minutes, so we're going to start setting this thing up here. Oops, wrong button. What am I doing here? Wow. We're back to being out of touch. I feel more awake than last week. Last week, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I felt very kind of tired getting into the sim, getting into the airplane. I had not gotten enough sleep the whole week before. All right, so quick safety check just to make sure everything is where it should be. Circuit breakers are closed. Nose wheel steering is off. Hydraulic pumps off. Landing gear is down. Flight spoiler is retracted. And flap lever set. Radar is off. ADG manual release is stowed. The emergency flap switch is normal. And battery master switch on. And if we haven't already got it, this guy should be hooking up some ground power. There we go. Now he's done it. All right, so the battery master's on. APU, we're not going to turn on at this time, contrary to what the FO wants to do. And AC electrics as required. So we're going to go ahead and get that ground power on, though. That'll help. And when we do that, I like to put on the nav light right away so that everyone knows there's power in the airplane. IRS to nav. That will definitely help. The few times I've forgotten to do that, it made life go a lot slower. Had to wait for the things to align when we were basically ready to go flying. Emergency equipment is checked, gear and safety pins. We're going to look and they're going to say that's all on board. Airplane documents checked, make sure we have logbooks, checklists, any other things we need to have. Hydraulic 3A pump on and off. So just put it on, just have a look at it there, and off again. We're just going to leave it off because otherwise it's going to run all the way till start, and we don't need it to run that long and wear it out. And FMGS initialization accomplished, so we're going to go ahead and get set up here. So again, we're doing, let's see, we're doing JFK to Buffalo, and I'm just going to pull over my flight plan for you guys to see as well here. All right, so here's my flight plan. It's a little different because I've started using a different flight plan format here. But it's mostly the same information in the same spots, more or less. And this is one of the fun things about SimBrief is that you can use different flight plan formats. You can play with them. You can find which one you like best. If you like a particular airline, you can simulate a particular airline, or you can simply try a couple different ones out and see which one suits you best. I like this one because of the planning summary right there in the middle of the page. All the most basic stuff you need to know about the flight plan is here on page 1, including, the aircraft and registration, date, flight number, all that kind of stuff for marks. But then there's a good planning summary here. Cost index, flight level it's planned at, great circle distance, wind component, estimated time en route, the estimated burn for the whole flight, the destination flight plan, and the alternate flight plan. All on page 1. All on page 1. Simple. Simple. One of the things I love about this flight plan format is that everything you need, almost everything you need is on page 1. You don't have to flip to the rest of it too much during the setup process. You will have to a little bit, but not all that much. All right, so I'm going to hit the 6R position init key, and then go to the next page to grab a GPS output. So the GPSs have already figured out where we are, and we're going to go back to the previous page and tell the IRSs to start us off in the same spot. Then we can go 6R to get to our flight plan, and that's another thing I like about this FMS. Is that it does lead you kind of onto the next step. The 6R button is always the next step of what you need to do for setup, which is great. Pilots, I won't say pilots are smart, but pilots need help. They're often doing a lot of work in a very short period of time. And especially when they're new to an aircraft, learning a new aircraft can be a real challenge. There's a lot of information to take in. don't make things harder than they have to be. So I love these FMSs. Honeywell's FMS in the Embraer did the same thing. Whatever the 6R button was, it led you to the next step of your FMS setup. So when you're setting up the FMS, if you forget where to go next, look down in 6R. That's your next step right there. FMS I'm using right now does not feature that. So you have to remember the order of all the pages to go in to do them in the correct order. There are 13 different pages I have to visit in the FMS setup I'm learning now, and I have to visit them all in the correct order. And it's just but there's kind of no there is a rhyme and a reason to the order, but it definitely doesn't help you out. It definitely doesn't kind of point you in the right direction. You've got to remember it, and that's a frustration to say the least. All right, so we've got our origin, our destination. We should get our flight number in there. Today we are Endeavour. What are we? 5484, I think. I believe. Hold on. Yes, Endeavour 5484. 5484. All right. And now we can do a departure arrival, and we're departing JFK. We have no controllers this morning. Ah, too bad. We could go with when you have no controllers online. There's two things you can do, and I'll do either one of these two things depending on the situation. You can go to the real world and see what they're operating in the real world. I like to go to FlightAware, so I'm going to pull up FlightAware right now. FlightAware.com/live/airport/KJFK. Pull it up on my other computer here. And I can see that they are landing and departing the 31s just from looking at the live map here. I can see they're landing, it looks like they're landing 31 right and departing 31 left, which is the same thing we did last week when we took off. So I'm going to go with that same plan. The other thing you can do, of course, is look at the winds on the VATSIM network if you're connected. So here's the winds. The winds are actually calm, so that wouldn't have helped me anyways, which is why method number 2 is so useful. So I'm going to plan departure off 31 left because that's what we did last time, and it seemed to work really well. Last time we did the score 4 departure with the Yankee transition, so I'm going to go ahead and do that again. Just I don't know anything better about New York. I know we did it last week when we were flying in the same basic directions, so I'm going to do the same thing again that way, just because I have no ATC to kind of give me direction on that. So we've got that in there. Runway 31 left, the score 4. So next page, and let's get some waypoints in there. So we're going to go out of the neon gate, out of the New York terminal area, J223, chords. J132, Elmira, and direct Benny, B-E-N-E-E, Bravo Echo November Echo Echo. I assume you guys probably found the same route. It's the first one I found on SimBrief there. And then arrival runway 23 in Buffalo. That's the plan. So hit departure arrival twice. You get the menu. You can do arrivals in Buffalo. ILS runway 23. And I don't know, I'm going to say the Geneseo VOR. I don't know. I know the Geneseo is the direction we're kind of coming from. And that's it. I'll execute that. I'm just going to page through it now just to make sure. Neon Benny and then ILS 23 clump. So that all looks good. We can go pages as well. Elmira, there is a discon after Benny. That's fine right now. I have two choices right now because I don't know the transition and I don't know where Benny is. I have a couple of choices, really. Depending on how you want to kind of look at this. So one thing you can do is you can try and put the format into plan mode, but I don't think this one's going to step through it for us. No, it's not going to step through it for us. So a lot of aircraft will let you step through your flight plan before you leave in plan mode. This one apparently is not going to do that. Nope. I keep on trying to move the format back and it keeps moving the range, so that's fine. We can leave the discon in there, or we could do what the clearance actually is, which you could put KBUF and literally put it right there underneath Benny. Fly direct the field, and then at some point before you get to KBUF, you'll actually fly the approach. I'm going to leave it with a discon in there right now. I'm aware the discon is in there. It's fine because I know why it exists, because we don't have a necessarily routing after Benny. Once we get airborne and we get underway, we'll analyze it, and we'll clean the flight plan up for the arrival a little bit. So with that said, the routing is done. We're going to go to the perf page next. And first of all, we're going to put in a flex temperature. I always put in 46. There's no reason. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just a number I heard. That a lot of people say it's kind of like the normal maximum flex temp you'll ever see. Most of the time, the CRJ is not too limited. Here at JFK, we got 10,000 feet. I don't have any performance calculators for the CRJ, so this is kind of the best way. It really is just sort of a guess. You can put whatever you want there, and it just derates the engine. If you don't know what engine derate is, ask me when we get in cruise, and I can explain it then. I'm not going to explain it now. And what am I not doing? So while we're sitting here, I am neither refueling nor boarding.
Is on its way.
Which I was waiting to just get the airplane powered up before I started to call for all these things, and I forgot.
Boarding requested.
So there we go. Now GSX is working for me. GSX is working very well today. I didn't have to change the auto device, and that seemed to mess with GSX last time. No, but it does do this. Oh. Again. And it's just all. I think it's mostly a limitation of the FlightSim API. The API lets outside programs tell the JetBridge to toggle, either toggle on or off, but it doesn't let the programs detect the current status of the bridge. So, for example, GSX to go board passengers assumes that when you hit board passengers, the bridge is not connected yet. Yeah, so I think it's an Asobo shortcoming more than any developer, because I've seen all the developers have the same issue. They all do the same thing. They all, the JetBridge just sort of moves pseudo-randomly, if you will. But I do have to say that GSX is working quite well now, so we've got, except for the fact, of course, they're going to drive underneath the airplane. CRJ is a little bit tough because all the baggage is on the left, and normally most airliners' baggage is boarded on the right side, so everything starts out from the right side. So you could take time and tinker with this. That's one of the nice things about GSX. It's so fully customizable. Still is in the MSFS world. You can. I should really get my ass in gear. But you can tag. You can edit everything in GSX, and you can edit like the start positions of the various vehicles. You can give them like routes to travel to get to to the baggage carts and everything. If everything was kind of traditional and the baggage loaders were on the right, they wouldn't have to drive through me. But it is what it is. The nice thing about GSX, it is, even in MSFS, it is still very customizable. All right. One nice thing that GSX does now that it didn't do before is that it links to your sim brief. So when you install it and you go into settings, you can tell it your SimBrief username. It will load information about your flight from SimBrief directly, like the number of passengers on your flight, so that then when it's boarding passengers, it boards the correct number. It used to have to guess based on your aircraft weight. Now it can look at SimBrief and know the exact number that you plan on using. All right, so let's see what's the exact number I plan on using, because I don't even know yet. Page 3, we're looking at 83 passengers. I think this thing only holds 80. No, this holds 90. Sorry, we're in a 900, so 83. 83 passengers. All right, so 68, 78, 85. And I'll likewise increase the aft cargo by a similar amount to represent another couple of bags in there. And I'm just doing it the lazy way, and I copy it. I could type in those numbers. You guys are not here to watch me type in numbers. You guys are here to actually watch some flying. So let's see if we can't get some flying underway here. Cruising altitude today. What are we doing on the way to Buffalo? 340. One thing about the CRJ, it does like to cruise high. It's efficient to cruise high, and it can climb pretty quickly, so you might as well get it up there. It seems to be the general theme of things. The alternate for Buffalo is Pittsburgh. Oops, wrong field. There we go, 30,000. All right, so that's all there. VNAV setup. The only thing I usually change here, the default profile is pretty good, except that SimBrief always likes us to cruise at 0.77. Plans the 0.77 cruise, so that's what I'm going to plan. I'm sorry, Perfinet, page 2.
Fuel truck is in position.
Doing this in the wrong order here. All right, so how much fuel do we need here? We're planning on 4.77. Oh, it's in kilograms, really? Okay. I could do this, right? Oh, block fuels from SimBrief. Oh, look at that. Look at that. So we're going to have to refuel when we get to Buffalo. But block fuel from SimBrief, I like this. All right. Back to my flight plan for a second here. So ISA deviation, again, right onto page 1 here. Deviation +2. Doesn't give you a wind, but it gives you an average wind component. You can go to your flight plan and pick a wind, especially because we have only a few legs in cruise. You can kind of pick any one. I'm picking the middle one here, Elmira, as the average here, 217 at 70, and that's it. We can execute all that. The VNAV, I've set the pages. It's all ready to go. Then we can come back into our overhead flow. make sure that everything's happy. I didn't actually start my timer in my FS2 crew, and I'm okay with that. All right, battery master's on, AC's on, generators reset, fire detection test. We're simulating the first flight of the day on this fin today. All right, lights we've got are good. Fuel's off, manual's off. Normal, auto, isolation closed, both is normal. We can probably start the APU. No, we can't start the APU because we're fueling now. And it looks like we were already fueled anyways at 10,000, so we're just going to stick to that. All right, but is the fuel truck still there? Nope, the fuel truck is gone. Okay, so we can't start the APU. All right, so he came, he left, I didn't even see him. Status page, APU doors open, fire it up, ignitions are off, hydraulic pumps, we're going to do the tests, so we're just going to turn on 1, 2, and 3B. Just verify that they do all pressurize, and then when we turn them to auto, they should depressurize. They do, and we already tested 3. At this point, we're getting close to departure. I'll put 3 on and leave it on. Back to stat page. APU's halfway there. All right. Put the packs on since the APU's coming on. Circ fan on. And anti-ice we're going to leave off for now, except for the windshield heat. We're going to start that warming up. Emergency lights are armed. Seatbelt and no smoking are on because the fueling's done. Alright, we are getting there. Nose wheel steering's off, and altimeter here, 3007. 3007, 3007. Alright, and get our toga button going here, and I have it now on my flight control, so I just have to press it. I like it. Press and hold the CVR test button here, and one thing we haven't done yet is set the speeds. And you know what? You know why he boarded me in kilograms? Because I planned this in kilograms, didn't I? That's my default. That is my default planning units now. Most of the airplanes I fly now have all been in kilograms, so I have to go back to pounds. That's why that's probably why SimBrief or GSX offered me the weights in kilograms, because it said, "Hey, you're in kilograms." All right, so we're going to copy the init the fuel from the aircraft, and then just set all our speeds the quick and easy way without dialing them in, because you don't need to watch me do that either. We'll just do a quick stall test. That seems to work. All right, so it should be block fuel 10,533 pounds. Good, perfect. And I'm just going to pull up the flight plan. So it's the same flight plan, except the units have changed now. So I've changed the flight plan here, only in the sense that the units have changed to say that we're taking 10.53 with us. That includes an extra of 2.12, so we can leave at about 8.5, and we'll still be good. I honestly can't remember the altitude. I think it was 5,000. Anyone's got the score for departure in front of them. I'm going to look it up here in a second. So we've got 5,000 feet and runway 31. And why am I not using my handy dandy little Alright, now let's get the charts up there just so we can verify these numbers are correct in here as we're doing them. So departure out of JFK today. Open the charts list. Make sure I have the 10-9 if I need it, but the important thing is the score 4 here. And I'm just going to get rid of that so it makes it bigger. Score 4, the top altitude is 5,000, and 3-1 right is initially a 314 heading. Heading 314 initially, that looks good. Alright, everything looks good on our status pages here. Turn the gear off and on, it should clear itself when it tests itself.
Overheat.
Alright, that's all good. Lamp check. Bombardier likes to put lights in there. Not quite as many as the 737, but Bombardier does like lights as well. Alright, ground proximity is all disarmed. The flight control disconnects are connected. The thrust resistors are disarmed. Slats are 0. The fuel levers are at cutoff. And flaps are up. Gonna make sure we get the stab trim on, the mock trim, and the yaw damper. The 3 things you need to make sure are on down here. We got no squawk code, so 2000, 22.8 for Unicom. Test the trims if we wanted to. I'm just not going to bother with that. You don't need to see it. And I think that's it. Originating check. Originating check. Cancel checklist.
Roger.
Originating check.
Stand by.
He was stuck in the middle of another checklist. Alright, so the APU is up and
status.
complete left.
Complete right. Gear pins.
Removed. Stowed.
Removed. Hydraulic test.
Tested. Complete.
Clocks.
1332 set. Left.
1332. Set right. Originating check complete.
Are you ready for the departure briefing?
Go ahead.
Alright, so today it's pretty straightforward taxi out at Kennedy here. We're parked on the east side of the long pier here, so we're going to go out Hotel Bravo Alpha Juliet and Zulu to get to runway 31 left full length. We just have to cross runway 4 left. Make sure nobody's landing on that before we do it since it's uncontrolled today. Broadcast Unicom. The departure today is the Score 4 departure 20-3 Charlie, 4th February 2022. No big notes. RNF 1 DDR GPS radar is required. Well, we don't have radar, so we're just doing it as we can here. So runway 31 left, heading 314, intercept a course of 238 into Score. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to arm nav now. FMS1 is armed to make sure we do make that turn automatically when the nav mode engages. Pardon me. After Score, we go left to CSID 2500 Yankee, and then I'm going to self-vector a left turn back around towards Neon. Generally, we need to climb east of the airport to stay away from LaGuardia and Newark traffic, so I'm going to just make a left pattern after this to get out towards Neon and climb en route. Terrain around here is 2,100-foot MSA all around JFK. The weather is looking like another beautiful day. Every day, Saturday we fly, it's always beautiful. A little windy, I think, in Buffalo, but otherwise it's looking good. Operational, no MELs on this aircraft. It all works, no TAMs. Let's have a quick little look-see here and just make sure. No TAMs. Zap me ahead to no TAMs. Nothing too crazy in Kennedy. Alright. Status light, centerline markings. Lima Kilo, Juliet Alpha. I'm not using any of those taxiways. Centerline markings. Standard U2 closed. TB. T2 right. Centerline markings. Surface paint, hold signs. Zulu between 4 left. 22 right and Yankee closed. Okay, that doesn't affect us. Sometimes you got to really kind of speed read through these things to make sure there's nothing that terribly affects you here, but I don't see anything that's really going to affect us. Airport, unreliable. And Yankee, 3-1 left, Appies, 2-4 left. Nope, I don't see anything there. Anything for SIDS. SIDS, Kennedy 5, takeoff departures. Nope. And that's it. I think we are ready to go here. Yeah. Any questions?
No questions.
Before start checklist. It's not the before start checklist. What is it called on this bloody airplane? It's called the before start checklist down to the line? Pre-start checklist.
Stand by.
Alright, so we've got the external power off. The APU's running, so we can get rid of the external power. And we can probably tell GSX we're ready to go.
Fuel quantity.
Oh, waiting for my... waiting to open the aft cargo. Okay, so I'm going to just reset it here at this point. Give it a couple of seconds. Yeah, man. Come on, GSX, you can do it. There we go. Delta Airlines, please. Release with 10,000 pounds on board. Release with 10,000 pounds on board.
10480 pounds. Confirmed. Cabin signs.
On.
Hello, Captain.
Pressurization.
Pushback.
That's what I forgot.
Altimeters.
3007, set left and center.
3007. Set right and cross-checked.
Set and checked.
Set right. Oxygen flow.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Check left.
Checked right. FMS.
Set. Verified.
Radios.
Set left.
Set right. Takeoff brief.
Complete.
Restart check complete.
Alright, there goes the door.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Alright. Engine start check.
APU.
On.
Takeoff data set 475937 pounds. V speeds are V1 144 VR 145 V2 154 VFTO 202 flaps 8 set right.
Set left.
Trims engaged and centered 7.5. Seatbelt and shoulder harness.
Check left.
Checked right. Hydraulic pumps.
On. Auto. Auto and on.
Beacon.
On.
Nose wheel steering.
Off.
Doors.
Release parking brakes.
Closed.
Engine start check complete.
Alright, and here we go. I realize that my... Oh, the chocks are still on.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
I realize that my overlay there is completely wrong. Toronto to Winnipeg is not correct at all. So hold on a second, we're going to reset it here. I'm just going to reload some Toolkit Pro.
Cow's on.
Start engine 1. Start engine 1.
Starting engine 1.
Just resetting my overlay here. Hopefully it should work better now. There it is, JFK to Buffalo. That's smarter.
APU.
One thing that's nice about GSX is it does pushes, turns in the push and everything. Takes you right to the final spot without you focusing on it, so I can focus on things like starting engines, although I have FS2 crew to do that for me as well, so what am I really doing? I'm managing my stream here, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I need all the streaming help I can get some days.
Engine 1 start complete.
Start engine 2.
Starting engine 2.
I'm getting better at it. Like last time, part of the problem last week was that I had reinstalled Windows, so everything is reset. You think you've got your settings back the way you want them, and things are not all the way they should be. All right, anytime, man. Here it goes. It's done.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
I'm going to confirm a good engine start. Why is
We have
number
a good
2?
engine start. You can disconnect.
Why is number 2 not starting? Do the fuel pump's on, right? Yeah, I do. He talked about the APU, so he might have effed with the APU. The APU should be there. I'm honestly not sure why it's not starting number 2. Ah, what are you doing to me here?
Unlocking gear.
Okay, we're going to stop that. We're going to try and start it again here.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear.
Why is the right engine not starting? Ah, what the heck? Sometimes I hate this sim. Okay, I'm just gonna... Yeah, he had turned off the APU switch. And the APU is failing me now. Which may or may not carry me through the start here. I open up the cross bleed valve. That'll ensure that we have enough airflow from the number 1 engine, hopefully. Where's my bleed page here? ECS, that's what I'm looking for. 43 psi should be enough to start this engine without overheating it. Keep an eye on the temperature. So trouble with FS2 crew, sometimes it's too helpful. So he started shutting off the APU because he heard me say something. And I'm trying to remember every single time to mute it. Every single time I'm done talking to this guy.
Engine 2 start complete.
There we go. Alright, so let's put that back to normal before I forget. And let's go ahead and bring up the
Once again, ladies
flight
and
control
gentlemen,
page.
welcome on board our flight today. This is the lead
To
flight
give us the
attendant.
after start procedures.
Please direct your attention to the cabin crew for important safety
I'm going to
information.
check the
There is an
rudder.
instruction card in your seat pocket
He's going to
that
check the rest of the
illustrates
controls.
safety equipment on this aircraft. Regulations require compliance with this information as well as all crew instructions, lighted information signs, and posted placards. Fasten your seatbelt by inserting the metal tip into the buckle.
Pre-taxi check.
Tighten by pulling on the belt. To release your seatbelt, lift the metal flap on the buckle. It is our
Pre-taxi
policy
check.
that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times while seated. Doors are clearly
Pre-taxi
marked with
check.
exit signs and instructions for door operation. Each door is equipped with an escape slide.
Before
Locate
taxi
the
check.
exit nearest you. The nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, lights will illuminate the aisle. The cabin is pressurized. If there is a loss of cabin pressure, a panel will open and oxygen masks will appear. Remain seated with your seatbelt fastened
Pre-taxi
and pull a mask
check.
toward you to start the flow of oxygen.
He seems to be stuck now.
Oxygen will be
Ah,
flowing to
this
the
thing is
mask
not worthwhile
so the bag
some
may
days.
not inflate. Cover your nose and mouth with the mask. Place the elastic band around your head and tighten by pulling on the ends. Secure your own mask before assisting others. Your seat bottom cushion may be used.
Alright, I'm just going to do it myself. After start check, generators are on.
Upon exiting the aircraft,
Electrics
place your arms around the
set and
cushion
checked.
hold onto the strap
Bleed valves.
located on the back.
Auto.
This is a non-smoking flight.
Packs
Smoking is
on.
not permitted in the cabin
APU.
or lavatories. Cabin lights
APU
will
is
now
coming
be
up.
turned off. Reading light buttons are located above your seat. Thank you for your attention.
You guys are obsessed with the APU. Anti-ice is on.
Takeoff data set 475836 pounds. V speeds are V1 144 VR 145 V2 154 VFTO 202 flaps 8 set right.
Cancel checklist.
Roger.
Pre-taxi checklist.
APU
Set.
anti-ice set.
Set. Set and checked.
Nozzle steering.
Armed.
Flaps 8 set.
Flaps 8 indicated. Flaps 8 confirmed.
Flight controls.
Check left.
Checked right. Pre-taxi check complete.
Thank you. Gotta remember to mute this guy every time I do anything, or taxi light on. I don't remember to mute him every single time. He's just gonna do everything, whether I like it or not. So I gotta remember to mute this guy more often. I'm just being bad at that. Alright, so the APU door should close if I press the power switch. AP door is closed. Alright, so now everything's secured. We're on our way for our leg to Buffalo, and we're doing pretty good. We're almost right on time. We're right on the planned time, so we're doing pretty good here. Let me just adjust myself here, because I need to make sure I'm kind of centered on the rudder pedals, or it's all kind of useless. Alright, so we're going to go out Hotel Bravo, quick right turn on Alpha, and almost immediate left on Juliet. It's a very short taxi out today. Oops. And I'm forgetting that this aircraft, I don't have a stop there, so I got to keep it in the detent for idle. Alright, so let's just get out of the ramp area here. Hopefully we'll get some ATC. I gotta say, last week it was pretty awesome having ATC at both ends of both flights. It's early. Hopefully we'll get some ATC. Maybe not this flight, but hopefully for the flight back we'll get some ATC somewhere. Who knows, maybe we'll even get Cleveland Center for Buffalo's arrival. And I make fun of them because there have been times where Cleveland's been a very underappreciated sector in VATSIM, and so not a lot of people work there. But lately they've been on a real tear. They've got a lot of they've had quite a lot of good events, had quite a lot of controllers online, so they're definitely getting better. Before takeoff, checklist down to the line.
Flight attendants, take your seat for departure, please. Cabin has been notified. Crossflow manual. Thrust reversers armed. Takeoff data set for runway 31. RNAV first fix identified. 5,000 feet pre-selected.
I gotta turn this guy up. Set. Set. Set.
Min fuel confirmed. Takeoff config.
Clear left.
Clear right.
Strobes on. Set and checked.
Checked. For takeoff, check to the line complete.
Roger that. Alright, like I felt like the VATSIM especially seemed like it was really, really noisy. It was really loud in my ears. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but boy, that sounded really loud. And you guys are probably not even hearing it. Oh, it's on the wrong device. That does not help. So it was coming in my headset. It was going directly to my headset. I thought it was coming in. Wait a second. Yeah, no, it should have been coming in. I swear I saw it went off, but anyways. Let me know if you don't hear any VATSIM calls, because I should be hearing them. I'm hearing them in my headset. The thing is, I have my headset is feeding. What am I trying to say here? My headset is monitoring my output, so I actually have the speakers is actually the output that the streamer that is heard on stream, but I listen to it through my headset, so I don't get the repeated double sounds, so you guys don't hear all the streaming sounds. So. But the VATSIM was coming directly to my headset. I just realized that now in the settings. I thought I changed that, but I obviously did not. Another win by me. There's no ATC, just a bunch of traffic anyways. New York JFK traffic. Endeavour 5484, taking position runway 31 left for departure. Before takeoff, checklist below the line.
Anti-ice.
Strobes back on. Set.
Gas.
Checked.
Checked. For takeoff, check below the line complete.
Alright, here we go. Runway heading check.
Check.
Set thrust.
Thrust set. $80 knots.
Checked.
V1. Rotate. positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Nav mode, speed mode. Climb sequence.
Flaps up.
Alright, autopilot's on. Set speed 220. It did not seem to capture that nav mode very well on departure there for whatever reason. It was armed. It didn't catch it at all. I was waiting for it and it did not catch it, so I should have been more on it. There's altitude capture for 5,000. And let's go ahead and go back into speed mode at 234. Set flight level 340. Wow, he sets it fast. It's pretty much instant. Alright, we'll keep it to about 230 for now until we get turned around here. So we've already made it through about 6,000. New York Kennedy traffic, Endeavour 5484 is airborne through 6,000. So we're going to go ahead and we should be well above any arrivals. So we're going to go back into heading mode here. Pick up a northeastbound heading here. I guess I can use this. Call it 050 on the heading. And then we're going to continue the left turn around direct neon. Perfect, thank you. Alright. What a beautiful day for flying though. And again, I hope the auto balance is okay. Please tell me if the engine sounds too loud. I think it looks like it's pretty quiet. You want to have it in the background, but you don't want it to be obnoxious on stream. So I think it's probably a pretty good after takeoff check. While he's doing that, I'm going to quickly go direct to neon. FMS 1.
After takeoff check.
Alright, and away we go. What was that? Idlewild, I think, was that was the name of the airport. So that's the old New York airport. So that used to be, before Kennedy became the major airport, that was the New York airport in like the 30s and 40s. It was, I believe it was called Idlewild, something like that. And it's funny that, that the runways are still there all this time. Like New York being such a huge metropolitan area with, you know, land being at such a premium in New York City, hard to believe that that is that those runways are still there. And then the only building you can see downtown right now is the Empire State Building, but as we get a little closer in, I guess the LOD will kick in the rest of the downtown buildings. All right, now that we're turned on course somewhat, I'm going to redirect neon one more time because we're just so we don't sort of swing all the way back to it. We can definitely accelerate here. We don't need to be going at 232 anymore, so we can go 290 for the climb above 10. All right, and lights off, seatbelts off. Seems like a nice day. Oops, got that lights off, seatbelts off, and cabin pressurization. Cabin altitude is 900, climbing 400 feet per minute. It's 4.7 differentials, looking good. Ah, you can see all the buildings in Manhattan there. Now the Empire State Building doesn't stick out like a sore thumb anymore. And we're underway. All right, another leg done, and we got it done in pretty good time here. I got to say, I'm pretty impressed with how fast I was able to get that that going there. Of course, it does help when you fly the airplane a little bit more. The one thing I will say, of course, is that this time I flew the airplane a week ago. I haven't flown it actually since the last stream, but I flew the airplane a week ago as opposed to before when I hadn't probably flown the airplane for about a month and I had to reinstall everything. So nothing was quite the way it should be. None of this, all the settings were just a little bit off. It's amazing how much better things go and how much less frustrated I am too, I think was the other thing. So last week I was tired and I was frustrated. I was tired because I hadn't quite slept enough the couple of nights before that, just between studying and everything else. I just hadn't quite slept enough. I'd slept, but just never quite enough. Like get closer to 6 than 7 hours. My personal ideal is about 7 hours. If I can get 7 hours of sleep, I am well rested. Anything much less than that, and I start to notice it in my performance the next day. So for a couple days, I've been getting closer to 6 and 7 hours. So it wasn't much under, but it was just enough that it sort of like accumulated. And that's one of the things about sleep debt is it does accumulate. It really does. You know, you can go one day without sleeping enough and you're okay, but you go 2, 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row with some early mornings. I guess that the morning before it had a really long, the day before it had a really long day last week with a really early morning. That starts to wear on you. Almost more than not getting enough sleep for one night is multiple nights of just squeaking by with not really quite enough sleep. And so that's where I was last weekend. So the technical issues then frustrated me. So then I was I felt very lost. I felt very behind the airplane the whole time. And it's very easy to fall into that trap. It's very easy to be behind the airplane. So it really helps to be well rested. And that's probably one of the most important things a pilot can do. I'm just going to reach up here and just turn this light down because I don't think it does anything for me, really. I think it adds a little bit of light, but it's very blinding for me to try and look at the camera. And it's a nice camera with the ring light around it, but it really is not doing much to add to the general ambient lighting in this room. But it does make it hard to look at this camera without having to look away because it's just so bright and hard on the eyes. But yeah, last weekend I feel very much more. I feel very much more alert and awake this week, and that's good. You know, I mean, streaming is it's not hard per se, but to do a good job, it takes a lot of mental effort to do this and focus on streaming and flying an airplane at the same time. It's a lot of mental workload. So to be tired going into that, and also to be frustrated with something that's not worked well, and to sort of come at it from a negative standpoint, not good. And that's where I was last week. All right, so let's transition. Set standard set cross-checked, and passing 18.7. And that's where I was last week. I was tired and I was frustrated. Both those things kind of combined. There were large portions of the stream. I was kind of watching it I was kind of reviewing it the other day, and there were portions of the stream where I was quiet for quite an extended period of time. And again, I think it came down to mental workload. My brain was kind of taxed almost to its limit, trying to play mental catch-up. Didn't work very well for me. So this week I feel much more awake. I feel much more alert. I have had a long week, but I'm ready for 2 days off anyways. Today and tomorrow I'm off and back into it on Monday. But yeah, it was a very long week with a lot of training. So a lot of good stuff, and I learned a lot of stuff. But also at the same time, very just very grueling, very draining. All I really know at this point is how much I don't know, and how much I need to learn, how much more I need to learn in the near future. So, yeah, today I think is going to be a day of relaxation. I've worked so hard this week, and then tomorrow is going to be back into hitting the books and studying and learning stuff, learning flows, learning procedures, trying to memorize limitations as best I can, all that sort of stuff. So. Wing cowl anti-ice is on. Why is the wing cowl anti-ice on? Probably because Buddy was listening to me when I was talking to you guys and decided to turn it on for no good reason. That'll get us a little boost on our climb performance there as well. Let me think here. So, yeah, just trying to think if there's anything much to talk about this week. I didn't think there was a whole lot new in the flight sim world this last week. It was not a huge week. I think there were 2 updates from PMDG in the last week. They're slowly updating what the status of the 900 is, and more importantly, I think what everyone's really kind of waiting for is to have an EFB in the 737 to control it, to control the 737, and I think that's what people are waiting for. It seems like they've had a setback now They said thought they were going to have it released kind of mid-November. They said they haven't even gone into beta testing yet, but they've stayed in internal testing because there's been some issues both on the 900 and on the tablet itself. Two kind of separate projects working in parallel that I think they're kind of hoping to release both at the same time. I think they're hoping to release an update for all the aircraft that includes the tablet when we get the 900. What do I fly in real life? I do not fly anything right now in real life because I'm back in training. I feel like talking about what I fly probably gives away too much about what I do, and I kind of try to separate my real life from this a little bit. But yeah, I can. I'll talk about it a little bit. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I will talk about it a little bit. I am now in training to be a bus driver, and not down there, a bus up here. I am on course for the 320 now, which is a very, very, very different beast from any aircraft I've ever flown before. Very different in so many ways. The philosophies, the operational philosophy, the way the FMS operates is completely foreign. It is really a very different beast from any airplane, any other jet. It's designed. The thought process of the design is completely different from anything I've dealt with before. So it's a very big, steep learning curve. Part of the problem, and that's not really a big part of the problem. The biggest part of the problem is just there's not a lot of checklists. It's a lot of just memorization of procedures, which is challenging in and of itself. There's a limit to what the human brain can take in and how fast, and I've been running right up against that limit every day, I think. I think part of the problem to me that is most intimidating is the fact that within the fleet there's about 6 different types of aircraft. So there's 6 different types of 320s that you could 6 different types on the 320 family that you could be in any particular day, with different equipment setups, different serial numbers with different equipment setups, different engines, different weights, different everything. So there's no one set of unified numbers that you can memorize. There's no one set of flap speeds. There's no one set of flap speeds. There's no one set of weights. The gear speed's the same on all of them. The VMO, MMO's the same on all of them. That's about it. Almost every kind of group of aircraft, 5 or 10 aircraft that were ordered at different times, have different sets of limitations on them, which is just very frustrating as a pilot. I like to know my limitations. I like to know them. I like to have them absolutely committed to memory. But when you've got 6 different types, and then you've got to learn all these different limitations for 6 different types, you've got to learn different weights, you've got to learn different speeds, different temperatures on the engine limits, different everything. It is such a... That to me is the most intimidating. And to me is thinking about, like, how am I going to remember which airplane I'm on each day, and what are the limits for this particular airplane? What is the max takeoff weight and the max landing weight for this particular airplane today? That I won't say it scares me, but it worries me a little bit. I like to know my airplane. I like to have limitations memorized, and I find that I cannot because there's just too many variations that I can't memorize them all. And that's probably, the fleets I've flown before have all been very consistent. There have been little minor variations within the fleets, but the variations are very minor. The overall limitations of the aircraft have stayed the same across the fleet, but not anymore. That's very frustrating to me as a pilot, is to not be able to say I know the limitations of the flight of the aircraft I'm in. I mean, it could change at the last minute. They could swap an airplane at the last minute, and all of a sudden you think you're one airplane, and maybe you had a look at the card for that airplane at the beginning of the day, and nope, now you're in a different airplane. So that kind of concerns me a little bit. And the FMS is just a very different animal, and it's funny because the previous aircraft was a Honeywell FMS. Airbus is a Honeywell FMS. Completely different design philosophies. Completely just they're like from Mars and Venus. The way the FMSs are designed, they're completely different philosophies of design. So very challenging to deal with. Very challenging to try and learn. I feel like I'm getting the hang of it though. One thing I will say is that Flight Simulator has been a complete boon to learn the Airbus thanks to Fenix. And thank God Fenix had their aircraft out before I started this course. That money spent on the Fenix was some of the best money I've ever invested. I went into it feeling like I should have at least some knowledge of what's going on, and I did. I definitely got taken to school and shown how much I didn't know very quickly, but I felt somewhat comfortable with the layout of the FMS, the MCDU, the FCU, the whole flight deck I felt somewhat comfortable with just from having played with it in the simulator. And I have to say that having read a good portion of the FCOM now and having played with the procedures trainer, that Fenix has got to have one of the best, that Fenix might be the best aircraft available in Microsoft Flight Simulator in terms of fidelity, dedication to realism, possibly even more than PMDG. Fenix may have overtaken PMDG as the ultimate in terms of a realistic airplane operation. That, as far as I can tell, there are almost no shortcuts in the Fenix. Everything works the way it should. The FMS, the depth of the FMS, and the items that are simulated in the FMS wow me each day. And case in point, I recently read that there is a new software feature on the Airbus family that is slowly being implemented to allow completely fully autopilot flown TCAS RAs. So if your TCAS goes off and gives you an RA and tells you to climb, the autopilot will be able to do it for you. You will not have to disengage and do it by hand. The autopilot will do it for you. This is brand spanking new technology. This is only the last few years that Airbus has put this out there. And the other day I was flying in the Fenix. I had my FSLTL turned on, and sure enough, an airplane came straight at me, and I got a TCAS RA. And before I even knew what had happened, the airplane had, before I could even look down and disconnect the autopilot, the airplane had already flown the TCAS RA. So that new software feature is already included in the Fenix A320 software. So it just the way that aircraft is, the way that software is designed, the Fenix 320, it's just incredible. The level of realism, the depth that exists there. I'm just going to roll the speed back a little bit here so we keep climbing. Climbing at 0.74. Yeah, it is definitely one of the most realistic aircraft I've come across. I have a hard time finding a fault in it. Everything seems to work the way it should for the most part. There's a few minor things that I've noticed now that I've been going through the procedures trainer. 2, maybe 3 things. The biggest thing I see that happens from time to time is that in the FMS, where you've got the pages and you can go through multiple pages, sometimes at the end the Fenix doesn't loop back around. So like you go through the init A, init B, or if you're in the data pages or something in the FMS, and you hit the right arrow to go to the next page and the right arrow to go to the last page, and then if you hit the right arrow again, you're supposed to go back around to the first page. Some of those are not coded into the Fenix, but that's the kind of thing that's not coded in. Everything in terms of the operating the airplane, that's 330 climbing 340, that's all in there, which just blows me away, the level that airplane is operated to. So if you're interested in having the most realistic airliner experience possible in a flight sim, I have to say that the Fenix A320 is now the place to be. More so than PMDG, I think. Fenix, I think, has crossed that line to be an extremely realistic airplane, and the failure modes are just incredible too. When you start playing with the failures in the Fenix, and it brings everything up there on the ECAM, steps you through it, you do it all the systems come offline the way they're supposed to. The synoptic pages are all there because it's all simulated in the background, at least that's what they say, but from what I can tell, they're telling the truth. It's all there in the background somewhere. Everything's being simulated, so it's an incredibly impressive aircraft, an incredibly impressive piece of software. And I will have to say it's given me a big leg up in just familiarity getting into the procedures trainer, so I can really focus on the procedures. I kind of feel like I know the flight deck layout for the most part, and I can focus on the procedures, which is a big leg up. So yeah, it's been a heck of a go, and it's been a lot of studying because it's such a different airplane. But I will say this, like that being here, being in this flight simulator, and being able to play with this FMS at home on my own time has made a world difference in terms of trying to be ahead of the game when sitting down in front of the procedures trainer with instructor, with my fellow pilots. I feel like I'm in the game. I'm ahead of the game, having had a chance to play with this here. All right. I can see Buffalo already coming into range, so I'm going to start already looking into it, because we also have that discon you can see there after Benny, so I want to resolve this, so make sure that I know what we're doing, make sure that all planning's realistic. Looks like it's raining in Buffalo, winds are out of 180, 18 gusting 30, it's a beautiful day in Buffalo. ILS 23 via Geneseo seems to be the way to go, and I can see it there. And there's Benny, and then you come back to Geneseo, so I don't know if we're going to do completely a transition from Geneseo, or if we... yeah, I might be able to go direct to Geneseo after Elmira. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull up the charts and kind of have a look at it here while we're waiting. No ATC online yet. No sign of any ATC. Cleveland is not necessarily a great bet, so I would expect we're probably not going to get ATC. So let's have a look at the charts here for Buffalo. Are there stars for Buffalo? There are no stars for Buffalo. Alright, so ILS runway 23 into Buffalo. Yeah. Geneseo seems to be a sensible transition. Corvu, Kuki, and then you just make a straight turn. You don't have to make a procedure turn or anything. And you can join it at 4,000 at Trava and get down in time. That's good. 727 is the airport elevation, so we got to set the landing elevation there. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Alright, so first of all, 720 for the landing elevation, so I'm just gonna... How do I pop this out again? I thought it was... I swear there was a way to pop this out before. I can't seem to make it pop out anymore, but that's fine. We'll just do it this way. Do a bunch. 640, that's not too bad. 4, that should be 720 now. Beauty, love it. Alright, love it. So let's get that checked out here in the flight plan. So yeah, let's do direct after Elmira. We're just going to continue over to Geneseo. And then that'll set us up nicely straight for a straight in arrival. I like it. And then we got a top of descent pretty much at Elmira there. So let's make sure we're going a little bit fast here. Let's get a little bit of power off. Did I not set climb thrust that whole climb? The CRJ is not at the top of my mind right now, that's for sure. Yeah, I dropped Benny. I just went direct from Elmira to Geneseo. That seems to make the most sense, especially without ATC online. It's going to give us a really nice transition in there. If there's ATC online, I'd expect we'll just get vectors, but I don't think that's going to happen today. So, all right. 111.3 and 235. So let's get the frequencies in there. 111.3. 111.3. One nice thing about flying the Airbus too that I have kind of noticed a little bit, and I'm kind of really enjoying, is the fact that out there in this world, I forget, there's something like 5,000 Airbuses, 5,000 A320 family aircraft out there. There is a heck of a lot of information on the internet about this airplane. Tons and tons of videos, write-ups, guides. I found a podcast that I'm listening to in the car while I'm driving to and from work. Just an incredible amount of information out there about this aircraft, and that's one of the nice things about flying a very common, popular airplane, is there's tons of information. The airplanes I've flown up until now, the regional airplanes, there are quite a lot of them out there, but they just don't seem to get quite as much information out there in the public domain. 926 is the DA, but the Airbus, that's one thing I will say about the Airbus, is that there is a lot of people out there who have flown it. There is a ton of information out there about this airplane. Videos and everything, like YouTube's got tens of thousands of videos on the Airbus, probably, on the A320. So finding additional learning information, like if you're trying to really understand like the normal law versus alternate law and all that stuff, there's lots of information out there. Alright, I'm just going to grab my speed cards if I can find them here. They should be here somewhere, I hope. There they are, speed cards. And let's just pick off a landing weight here. So what did we have for the ZFW? We had on the Perfinite, our ZFW came in at 65.4, and we're showing, let's see here. What am I looking for here? 7.5 when we get there. Seems like a lot of fuel, really. 6.4, so 64 plus 7.5. That's going to put us at. All right, sorry, let me do this one more time. So perf init 65. We'll call it 65.5. 65.5, and we're going to show up with 7.5. So 65 and 7 is 72, 73 tons. So we're going to do 73 ton numbers here for landing. So I've got a set of speed cards here I use for the CRJ, 73 tons. So VAP is, VREF's going to be 139, so we're going to have a VAP of probably about 150 given the gusty winds today. Alright, and I'm going to have to give you a really quick briefing. Are you ready for the approach briefing?
Go ahead.
Because we're just about ready to start down here as well. So we got no arrival today. We're just going to transition directly into the ILS runway 23 in Buffalo.
APU is coming up.
Oh, stop turning the APU on. I don't know why he keeps trying to turn this APU on. He loves this APU every freaking second of the day. Stop it. That FO is going to get near full here. Okay, 111.3 is the localizer here. 235 is the final approach course. Actually, I didn't set that yet, did I? Alright, I got a couple seconds before the turn here, so let's go into heading mode. .235. Set course on your side, 235. Set course on your side, 235. Okay, you did it because I saw the the voice recognition trigger. So the glide slope check height at the outer marker is 21,887 at Loam. Which should also be the NDB 231. Do I have an ADF in this? Oh, I do have an ADF in this. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God, it's going to take forever to get 231. No, for crying out, I give up. I'm not going to bother with it. I'm just going to go with the fixes here on the FMS. 926, so we got 930 for the DA here. Touchdown zone 726. The MSA is highest at 4,000 west of the, south of the outer marker, which is going to be south of the field as well. Mr. Approach has climbed to 3,000 feet, direct Wabas and hold. And let's just make sure our legs page looks good here. So we got Geneseo. After Geneseo, we go down to 6,000. After Corvu, we can go down to 4,000. No procedure turn. 4,000 intercept the localizer straight in at Trava, and then Clump is the fix onto finals. They're straight ahead to Wabas for the missed approach. DME is required. ADF required for loc only. So we do have DME as well, so we can take the distance fix. It's 4.4. 4.4 from DME from the threshold. All right. 3-degree slope, ALSF2, Pappy's on the right side of the runway on touchdown, and it's RVR 1800 or half mile. It's raining, but it's not IMC 10 miles and 6,000, so we should be able to spot that runway, no problem there. I'm just going to make sure I pin this. And then taxi in, I don't have a gate, but we are going to plan a left turn off of runway 23, probably around Echo, maybe Golf. And let me just check out the other computer really quickly here and see if I can't find a gate for this flight. So back to FlightAware again. Such a useful tool, just FlightAware. I'm always using it to try and gain some real-world information here. And let's see here, Endeavor, is 5484 on here? No, 5484 is not on here, but there was one that arrived this morning at gate 22 in Buffalo here. So Gate 22, just for my sake of interest. I don't know where it is. Oh, there is a thing down here. Gate 22 is right here on the corner, so that's where we're going to head. All right, and we got to start heading down now, or we're going to miss this airport here. So let's go ahead and get this down there. Get down to 10,000 initially here, at least. All right, and let's go ahead and VS down. Start off at VS minus 3,000 and see how that works. And if I go to the direct intercept page, it should give me a target speed here. 3,000 might be a good speed there. Might be a little bit high, but I think we should be able to catch our path this way. All right. Any questions?
No questions.
Descent checklist.
Pressurization. Set. Fuel. Checked. Altimeters.
2992 set left.
1013. Set right. Landing data. Set 472. 1 pounds. Thrust reversers.
Armed.
Lights.
Off. On. Set.
Seatbelt sign.
Also in preparation for landing, please turn off all electronic devices. Stow these devices
On.
and all other carry-on
Seatbelt
items.
and shoulder harness.
Please use caution when opening overhead
Set.
bins.
Check left.
Items may have shifted during our flight.
Checked left.
Checked right.
Please stow your
First
tray
briefing.
tables to return your seats to their upright position and
Complete.
check the security of your seatbelt.
Descent check
We will
complete.
be landing shortly. Thank you.
All right, we're going to increase our rate of descent to make sure we make it down there. She's wandering all through the sky again. I don't know why she keeps doing this. The CRJ is not the best, but all right, we're doing okay though. We're making pretty good time. Oh, and there actually goes our VNAV path. So let's back off that descent rate a little bit there. I don't know if you can see it right there, but we're just kind of keeping with our idealized descent path. We can't track it with the autopilot, but it just sort of gives us a reference to look at. So we'll keep this going here. But it's looking pretty good.
Cow's on.
Oh my God, stop. And for once, I think you're doing the right thing, actually. We are going to go through this cloud layer, so fine. Put it on, but I got to remember to mute this thing. I often have it on my other screen, but because I kind of want to keep an eye on my stream as well on the other screen, I kind of have that taking up most of the screen, so I keep covering up the FS2 crew. Alright, no ATC yet, right? No Cleveland, no nothing. It's a quiet morning on VATSIM. People are thinking about next week's Cross the Pond. So next week we are not going to be doing a Saturday morning stream because next week is Cross the Pond. So I will be streaming starting first thing in the morning. However, I won't be streaming for all that long because I also have to go to work later in the day. Got some training sessions scheduled on Saturday and Sunday next weekend and Monday. So I'm going to be there for the first part across the pond anyways, launching them eastbound. I'm going to be there for probably about the first 3 or 4 hours. And then I'll have to call it a day, but I will try to live stream that. But yeah, we'll probably have to wait 2 weeks before we can do our next flight stream. Because again, I don't have a whole lot of extra time these days. A lot of time spent studying. Not that I'm trying to complain too much because I'm really enjoying it. I am going to try and control for CTP. I should be around for at least, like I said, the first couple hours. I have to probably be offline by about 10 a.m. So I'll definitely be online for the first couple hours of controlling. Not even sure where yet. I put into control in Toronto. I guess I should actually look at their Discord. I don't look at Discord ever, and that's where they publish everything, which is one of the reasons why I've started to fall out with these communities, is that they seem to be obsessed with Discord. Obsessed. And not in a good way. Just everything has to go on Discord, and it's the only method of communication that's not a good method of communication. It really is not. It's a terrible form for communication. It's a great chat forum, but it's a terrible way to communicate with people. I say as I have my own Discord, but I tend but having my own Discord, I see it's not very well designed for group communication in that sense, in like passing messages and important announcements and stuff like that. It's great for day-to-day chatting. But for kind of trying to get people's attention for important announcements, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. not a big fan of it whatsoever. It takes kind of the worst aspects of forums and the worst aspects of Facebook, and then combines them two to end up with an even worse system. Yeah, that's chaos. Every time I look at Discord, I feel like it's just complete total chaos. It's very hard to sort through and find things you need, things that are important in Discord. That's the biggest problem with Discord. It's very hard to find what you're actually looking for in Discord. They have a search function, and it's not terribly effective most of the time. You usually have to really kind of sift through the answers to find what you're looking for, which really does not make it a very useful search function. Alright, transition set 2975. I should stop ranting about Discord, but I really am not a fan of it. It's not a well laid out system, especially for the kind of stuff you're trying to do in like a VATSIM environment where you're trying to, you have like important announcements that people have to see. They get lost. They get lost very quickly and easily in Discord. Alright, I'm backing off the vertical descent rate, but we already crossed Geneseo, so we're good down to 6,000, so let's go ahead and set 6,000. There we go, there's 6,000. It looks like we're going to hit 6,000 right around Corfu, so this is going to work out really nicely here. We do have the engine anti-ice on, so that's good. That's going to help us go through this cloud deck here. Things are looking pretty good. I never even checked this whole time to see if my tracker was tracking. Oh no, it never started tracking because FSU PIPC never ran. Oh my god. FSU IPC never ran. You've got to be kidding me. Why did it not start running? Ah! Yeah, that's not going to do any good now. I never checked it the whole time. I just assumed it was okay. Ah! Ah! Really? Now I'm going to have to refly this leg at some point. And the next leg's not going to be worth anything either. Ah! God darn it. Alright, back to idle. Let's back off the vertical speed here. Well, I may not do the return leg now because now it's not going to log that until I've done the leg out. Well, that puts a real damper on that. Yeah, I'm contemplating that. That is a possibility. I can skip one leg. And believe me, I am quickly now in my mind weighing the pros and cons of doing that. At the end of the day, I lose, what, 15 bucks of pay and an hour to my logbook. Yeah, I may do a flight skip on that. I don't think I've skipped a flight yet in my pilot life career. And you can't say that I skipped it because we flew it. And the tracker was not running. And I thought we had this nailed. Everything was going well. We got out on time. Things were happening. Alright, 10,000. The landing lights on. Seatbelts are already on. So there's, yeah, wild 30 knot gusts on final. Yeah, I know. I saw that in the METAR there. That's got my hairs up right there as soon as I saw that. Debate, decisions now. All right. 18 gusting 30, but not even close to 18. This is gonna be a good landing regardless. This should get lots of people watching this stream here if they're not already. All right, who wants to watch me do a gusting 30 knot crosswind landing in a CRJ? Because that's what we're doing today. This is gonna be fun. All right, seems like we're still more or less on profile. I'm gonna just increase my rate of descent a little bit here, just so I have a little bit Just so I have a little bit of a level off up ahead here. Definitely getting some icing on there. Look at that. Or was it always chipped like that? I think that's supposed to be icing. And we better put the wing anti-ice on as well for the descent through this cloud here. And how are we doing here tat-wise? Tat, we're up to 6 degrees, so hopefully we'll start melting off whatever we had here. Looks like rain running across the windshield, not snow. All right. Yeah, I've had problems with FSCO IPC lately not starting when the sim starts. I used to have it set in the XML to start when the sim started, and that one will not start anymore. So I have to remember to start it separately. I'm usually pretty good about checking that too. Yeah, look at that. We're getting ground contact. Ooh, it's a murky morning up here in upstate New York. It was so sunny in JFK. Not the case here in around Buffalo. All right, so we're past Corvu, so we're good to get down to 4,000. Disregard the chime. 4,000 feet is set, and that's the altitude that we're going to intercept the localizer at. See some airports down there. See some rain showers up ahead. And Toronto traffic. That's a good reminder to do our own call here. And Buffalo traffic. Endeavour 5484 is 15 miles northeast of the field, descending through 6300, setting up for an ILS runway 23 Buffalo. I thought we had this stream nailed. One little thing forgotten, that's why I'm supposed to have a checklist. We're doing well, too. Oh well. Oh well. Alright, so I've got it set to my minimum flap speed here. 179. Yeah, that might be it for you, actually. Getting a little late already. All the way back to Buffalo, all the way back to JFK. Yeah, it should take us about another hour and a half to do it. It's totally your call, but it's nice to have you here flying with me anyways. I'm certainly, this is the kind of relaxation that I'm enjoying. And it's kind of nice that it's not the bus. So I have an excuse if anything's not going well. I'll just say I haven't been focused on this airplane. This is not the airplane I'm learning. It's a perfect excuse. All right. All right, so there's altitude capture. Speed's going to start coming back, and that's good. We'll start configuring because we're going to turn final here, and we're going to capture the glide slope before too long here once we're inbound. Just a quick look up there at the approach chart again. And yeah, Trava, we can go down to 2300, but we should be intercepting the glide slope shortly here anyways. So as we're coming around here, I'm going to go ahead and arm the approach mode. All right, and Loc 1, altitude capture. And go ahead and set this to 235 for the inbound course, in case we do go around because it's too windy. All right, then let's go ahead. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
There's glide slope. Flaps 8.
Roger.
Flaps 8.
Flaps 8.
There's glide slope. Mr. Approach altitude was 3,000, I believe, right? Yeah, 3,000 during Wabas and hold, so 3,000 feet. What's the TAT now? The TAT's at 9 degrees. Sort of stopped raining, but I can see a rain shower up ahead, so I'm going to probably keep the anti-ice on for the time being. Get the speed back to 180. Alright, things are looking pretty good here. We got the speed going nicely here. Hopefully, nuclear jet, you're right behind me there. Well, Squibbly, you got to do what you got to do. It's nice flying with you, and hopefully we'll see you next week for CTP, if not sooner. Yeah. All right. You know what? I'm okay with calling it a day. I've got lots of other stuff I can do. Gear down.
Gear down.
Flaps 20.
Flaps 20.
Kind of murky over here. Hope we spot this airport. Oh, I think I see some lights already.
Autopilot on.
Stop doing that. Stop listening to me when I say things. Clumps at 2187. Clump 2187. Current altitude set. Lost some speed there. Flaps 30.
Flaps 30.
Flaps 45.
Flaps 45.
Wing ice off.
4 landing check, please. Landing gear.
Down 3 green.
Spoiler 0. Flaps 45. 4 landing check, complete.
Alright, so our VAP today is 149 with the extra gusty winds here. And keep the autopilot on for a while here. Do have the airport in sight, so we are going to land. Well, hopefully.
1,000.
Visual. It's the first time we've done a flight here for a while where it hasn't been miserable. She is all over the place here.
500.
Stable. Autopilot's off.
Cal's off.
Minimums.
Continue.
200. $50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
$90 knots.
Roger. Alright, well that was definitely a good approach. Definitely a little windy. You guys are all chatting there and I'm busy focusing on landing a bloody airplane here in a windy day. That was a tough one though. That was definitely kept me working there till the end. Alright, welcome to Buffalo. That windsock's just standing straight out, isn't it? After landing check. Alright. Assume that's probably you. Or maybe that's a official aircraft. I gotta go park at this end here. They gave me gate 22. After landing check. He's doing it, right? Yeah, he's doing it. He got the flaps up. He's just got to get through it. Oh, is that you up ahead there? I think I see a little spot of light there through the clouds there, nuclear jet. Yeah, a little long. I was carrying.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Pardon me. I was carrying extra speed because of the gusts, and then the trouble is you gotta. Sometimes you have to bleed that extra speed off. It's amazing how quickly you get through that touchdown zone. About 500 feet every like 7 seconds. So you get through it very quickly.
We'd like to thank you for flying with us today. We appreciate
So
your
watch out for those winds. They are a little.
on a future flight.
They are a little harsh there. Oh, you know what I never did? I never told GSX where we're going here. Gate. Supposed to be gate 22. There we go. I don't need to follow me. I know where it is. Just put some marshalers there, please. Should be right here on the corner. It's one of these two gates right here. Oh, it is this gate right here. Alright, so marshalers in sight. I thought I turned all this stuff off. Landing lights off, tax light off. Yeah, I pushed it up by 5. It definitely was good. It gave me definitely a little bit of extra margin there on the approach because we were definitely up and down. No, wait a second. Where is it? Oh, there's the line. There's the line. I see the line now. All right, so this is the line over here for gate 22. I got it. I got it. I got it. EPU's on. Looking good. 22. That's what we're going. Nice, nice, nice. I like it when you get some good scenery with numbers that you can actually see that lead you in there. Yeah, I'm at idle. Nice. Alright, park and brake. Where are ya? Oh, you haven't touched down yet. Okay, good. Alright, so, shutdown check.
Shocks and brakes.
In and on.
Seatbelt sign.
Off.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Packs.
On. Set. Set.
Fuel pumps.
Off.
Hydraulic pump 3A.
Off.
Beacon.
Off.
Nose wheel steering.
Off.
Transponder standby. Shutdown check complete.
The boarding requested.
And now the fun of sitting by the runway. Watching the crosswind landing.
Passengers deboarding starting.
Thank you, GSX. There you go. We'll kind of come to the end of the touchdown zone here, probably somewhere right around here. We'll just stand in the grass a little bit here. No pressure, yeah, exactly. No pressure at all. That was fun though. I mean, I'm a little disappointed that we did not get that to work. That the tracking didn't work. I'm gonna have to at some point this week just do that one leg just to make up for it. I'm a little disappointed about that. But sometimes it is what it is, and you know what? It's kind of nice to do a little bit of a shorter stream. I have a lot of other stuff to do before I get back into training. crab going on there. That's pretty much what my landing looked like as well. The pounce and everything. I'm pretty sure my landing looked exactly the same, so. No pressure at all. It's all good. We're all here to have fun. But yeah, that was good fun. I'm a little disappointed the tracker didn't start, and that's my own stupidity for not checking it. I usually check it at some point, and I did not this time, and that was, again, my own stupidity. They're all walking through an invincible jet bridge.
Buffalo ground, JetBlue 427, taxi to runway 23 via Alpha.
But anyways, yeah, guys, thank you anyways. That was tons of fun. I had lots of fun. I always have fun doing this, except when it doesn't want to work. Yeah, a little bit bumpy, but hey, you nailed it. I mean, a 30 knot, gusting 30 knot wind is nothing to sneeze at. So nicely done, sir. If you can put it on that piece of pavement, keep the mains, keep the center line between the mains on that piece of pavement, and a good gusty crosswind like that, you're doing well. So yeah, well done. But yeah, I think that's good for me for today. I think I'm gonna pack it in. We'll set up. Hopefully for maybe 2 weeks from now, we'll do that return leg. Because next week's across the pond, so we'll be there for that. But then hopefully 2 weeks from now, we can do that return leg back to New York. And I can't remember honestly. I'd have to check my schedule here, so I'll have to just fly this leg by myself to make up for it at some point because I'm an idiot. Yeah, the next one is back to Kennedy, and then after that we do Cleveland, but then from Cleveland we go back to LaGuardia, and LaGuardia we go down to Norfolk. So at least we'll stop doing Kennedy once in a couple of legs, because now we're starting to feel really repetitive there. But nevertheless, there you go. That was good fun. I enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that as well. I definitely thought it was. I don't know why that bridge doesn't want to stay there. But yeah, I definitely thought that was fun. And this is the, for those that don't know, this is the IniBuilds KBUF. So this is a really nice looking airport here. You can fly right in the terminal, and you know, individual seating. Now, I mean, when you get in here, it is a little bit, the modeling is very basic, but to me that's good, because the point is that you're going to see this from here. So you can see that you can see the seats from in there, but they don't need to be hyper detailed. You're aware they're there, you're aware the seats are there, but they don't need to be hyper detailed. You put too much detail on there, and it's just going to slam everyone's, you know, processor speed and clock speed down to 0, frame rate down to 0. So you don't want to have excessive detail. It's nice to have. Yeah, we're going to deboard the crew. It's nice to have interiors and that you can see through them, because like you can see airplanes on the other side and you can see daylight and everything on the other side, and that's nice. But don't. I don't think as a developer you need to spend a whole lot of time on the inside. Make it look nice. Get them some. The only thing that's kind of missing to make this really look like a real airport is people at this point. If there were people in there, it would look real. You don't need to have like detail to the nth degree. Maybe near some of the gates, because you might be able to see kind of in from the gates when you're parked, but that's about all you're going to see. So to me, it's more important to sort of focus on the overall effect of the airport, and this is a nice overall effect. It's a distinctive terminal building, so you definitely see it, but you don't have to waste a lot of time on interior details. If you can see through it and you can see that there is some stuff in there, that's fine to me. You don't need to waste a lot of time on that. But what a dreary day here in Buffalo too, so maybe when we come back it'll be a little nicer.
Your crew has deboarded.
Yeah, we can do the turn out of Kennedy to Cleveland. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I feel up for it right now. I'm not necessarily feeling it right now. I mean, it might be fun to do this kind of IMC departure here. It's kind of nice to actually have like a lousy day for once. Still waiting for baggage unloading to get some progress. The doors open on their own. But yeah, it's nice to have working gates, signage that is realistic, that you can see. You can actually see the gate numbers and the numbers painted on the ground. Like that to me is important, much more important than necessarily you know, counting the rivets. To me, it's about the overall impression of the airport. That's why like generic scenery is often so kind of blasé, because it looks like every other airport. I get no impression from it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you get a good overall impression from it. But operating jetways are important, I think, more than anything else. The ground crew is provided by GSX, so that'll be at any airport I go to now, which is kind of nice. I'm so happy to have GSX again in the Sim 2. It's also a really nice thing to have. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I think we'll cut it there. I think that's good for a day. Sometimes 2 flights a day is a bit ambitious. So we'll do that. We'll do that in a couple weeks when we have a chance. But in the meantime, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for flying with me. As always, it's been fun. I'm glad we got a chance to do it. It's kind of nice to do it in IMC for once and actually spot the airport. Kind of have to shoot the ILS to actually spot the airport. So that was kind of nice. Maybe we'll hope for some more bad weather next time. But what kind of a pilot hopes for bad weather, right? We'll hope for some more bad weather next time. But yeah, that was tons of fun. So yeah, I hope you guys will join me next time. Otherwise, I'm going to go out and enjoy my Saturday. You guys go and enjoy your Saturdays. And we'll see you guys next week for Cross the Pond. Don't miss it. Be there. Pilot, controller, be there. And it's going to be tons of fun. We'll see you guys all out there real soon.